Now I know this is not going to be a popular video by a lot of different people, and probably going to be a lot of hatred and bashing going around. But I'm gonna do it anyway. It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the Boxing Clinic. Like I said, we're not always going to agree. It's my opinion right here. It's my point of view, and I'll give you 2 cents. Don't get disrespectful, but I think 5 fighters here that would have or can benefit from signing with Al Haymon. Can or could or still can at this point. And I think Rigondeaux was one. I think signing Al Haymon would have possibly gotten at least the fights with Frampton. I don't know what people were saying. They was like, look at Earl Spence, he can't get a fight. And with Keith Thurman, they both under the PBC banner. But I think, Al Haymon does reward the fighters that are feared with good paydays. And I definitely think, if he had Al on his side negotiating the fight with Lomachenko, he would have got more than $400K. Now, before I continue going, when you sign with Al Haymon, you get paid, And a lot of guys on this list haven't been compensated the way I think they should have been compensated and got the fights they should have got, or the fight should have been blown up the way they could have been blown up by Al Haymon, and if you don't get the fights, right away, he makes sure you get compensated. However, what investors paying or however it is, you still get the exposure and you still get paid. And at the end of the day, a lot of these guys got lowballed and made bad business decisions in their career, and I truly believe that Rigondeaux could have expanded his financial means a lot by signing with Al Haymon. I really do. He might not have got the Leo Santa Cruz fight, but he would have got other fights. He would have at least got Frampton, Selby, Gary Russell, or something like that if he moved up to 26. Now, he's a man that mortgaged his future trying to fight Lomachenko for basically peanuts on a prize level type of scale. And Al Haymon wouldn't allow that to happen to Rigondeaux. He'd at least got $1 million for fighting Lomachenko. He would have got what he's on. And if you look at a guy like Rigondeaux, like Yorkis Gamboa, who made bad business decision after bad business decision after bad business decision. Al Haymon's a manager and advisor. Not only does he's a financial advisor, he's a boxing manager. He makes the best moves for you. And I believe he would have made a proper move for Gamboa to have a more prosperous life at 126 and 130. And I think he would have got paid and compensated and got the fight that he wanted back down there as well. At least he'd have been compensated the right way. He would have done right by them. Look at Aries Landy-Lard. He's getting compensated pretty well for fighting subpar competition. And, now he's getting the big fight with Jerry Swift Hurd. And, now it's time. Now he getting his shot. Eventually with Al Haymon, you're going to get paid. But eventually you'll get your shot. And, a lot of people wondering why Gennady Golovkin is on this list. He was match made perfectly coming over to America. They did everything right with Golovkin besides negotiate the Canelo contract the right way. I think Al Haymon would have, been able to finesse his career at that point and made him undisputed champion with Billy Joe Saunders. He'd have made that fight happen, then came back around and handled the Canelo situation totally different because he knew that they would have the total leverage on their side. Not only does Al Haymon have the goons to be ranked and be Canelo's mandatory if he chooses to get another belt, or he had the guys in place for each belt class because he would have had Golovkin. He would have had to come to Golovkin, basically, is what I'm saying, to get a belt. And, they would have cornered the market. He'd have been undisputed, and he would have got a better deal when he got versus Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo this time around. And he would have been king in a rematch, too. He would have got a nice little lion's share. And his total outlook, his total career would have been different. He'd have fought Billy Joe Saunders in June, still got the Canelo fight when he wanted it to, and then he'd probably be rematching Canelo right now. However, that would have failed, and he would have been financially more stable and ready to retire and ready to move up after the Canelo rematch because he'd have been undisputed already. Al Haymon is, like I said, is not only a financial advisor, he's a manager. He manages your career, and they mismanaged and mispromoted Gennady Golovkin on that tip. That's the only issue I really have with Golovkin's career, and they really, K2 and Tom Loeffler really dropped the ball on that. Now you're looking at Andre Ward, a guy who made bad business decision after bad business decision. After Andre Dirrell, went to what he went with the Super 6, he signed with Al Haymon. Even though his career never took off, he got another title shot, and he's been able to make some bank. I think Andre Ward would have been a whole different type of household name under Al Haymon. I think they would have forced the Adonis Stevenson fight to happen. I think he would have got a nice little line share. I think he still could have got the Kovalev fight, even though Al Haymon and Kathy Dufour went what they went through. I think they was still able to negotiate that fight, because if a fighter really wants to fight that bad, they gonna make the fight happen. Period. Even if certain people got to get out the negotiations. Both of the guys wanted to fight, it would have happened, and I believe he would have been able to make the Adonis Stevenson fight happen, become undisputed, and made a lot of different money in his career to this point. He wouldn't have had that void before Goosen died, where he was hung up fighting Aaron Rodriguez in Southern California when he was from Northern California, and would have been sitting out that long. Al Haymon would have made sure he never read up with Goosen. He wouldn't let that happen. That mistake happened that James Prince let happen. And I think he would have led Andre Ward to a more fruitful and financially prosperous career, in my opinion. And that's my opinion on that. You know, I think he would have moved different. I think Ward would have got a lot different. I think his pay-per-view would have been, Kovalev would have been promoted a lot different. And I think it would have really set the bar up for a Adonis Stevenson fight to be bigger than what it would have been after the Kovalev fight for Ward. And the reason that Ward didn't want to fight Stevenson is because the money wasn't there, because he wasn't going to be able to treat Stevenson like a job turkey like he did Kovalev at the negotiation table. We know how that went, you know. But you know, you got Bud Crawford. The only reason I say Bud Crawford is not because Top Rank is doing a horrible job with him. Yeah, they promoted the Lomachenko-Moraga fight and the Lomachenko-Rigondeaux fight better than they promoted the undisputed fight with Julius Ndongo for Crawford. But it's the simple fact that PBC has the welterweight division cornered. I think it's better for Crawford to continue to make 140 and just be the king there until certain things, you know, kind of hashed out. There's some guys with ruffled feathers at 47, like Earl Spence, that may be looking for a change, you know, to get the fight that he wants. You know, honestly, I think he's probably at the point where I'm not going to get Keith Thurman. You know, maybe I want to go over there and work with Bob Arum, even though I know he's loyal to Al, but I know that got to be running through his head, you know, because Crawford and Errol Spence is a big fight, and he can't get the big fight with Thurman. There's no other big fight. I mean, Porter won't step in there with him, or you know, Danny Garcia. So it's just something that got to be going through his head. But I think because, you know, PBC got the market corner at 47, Crawford would be better off if he truly believes he can whoop on Thurman and Spence. Better off signing with Al Haymon and fighting Spence right now, and he beat Spence getting Thurman. It ain't that they're doing a bad job. It's just what the market indicates, and that's my opinion on this. TBC, we gone.